What was the name of the card? Eight Diamonds? Look. Where is it? Look, it's gone! Look here. Open it up. Over what? Inside. That's not serious! Okay, welcome to this setup of Sealed. As you'll see on the table right here, we've got a couple of items to make this effect work. Now, what I love about this effect so much is that all these items you should already have at your house, or you'll be able to get them from your local shops. It's not going to cost you a fortune, and it's not going to take you hours to make it or to be able to perform this effect, which I absolutely love. So these are the things that you'll need. X-Acto knife. Okay, an X-Acto knife is just a sort of a blade that requires you to cut basically pretty neat or exact. That's what it's called, an X-Acto knife. If you don't have one, totally fine. Scissors, okay? Just get some sharp scissors. Once again, be careful, but these I'm just giving you the kind of things that you'll need. Number two, you're gonna need some double-sided sticky tape, all right? If you don't have double-sided sticky tape, once again, normal tape will suffice. A little bit of a tip, I prefer to use clear sticky tape. I know some sticky tapes have more of a matte finish. I just, be able to get sticky tape, but any sticky tape should work. This is to be able to seal up the gimmick. This is of course to be able to open the chip packet, as you'll see. You're gonna need 2 packs of cards. Okay, 2 packs, I'm just using bicycle decks. If you don't have 2 packs of cards, what you're gonna be wanting is you're gonna be wanting 2 of the same cards. So for example, you wanna be able to get from 2 decks, I'm just using for today, 2 Queen of Hearts and 2 Jack of Hearts. Okay, so 2 cards of the same, so duplicates of both, all right? Then from that, then you're going to be using the object of where you would like the card in, hence it's called Sealed. Now, for this effect, I did go out and grab a larger packet of chips just to show you that it doesn't matter what you put the card in, okay? I'm using just any regular pack of chips. In Australia, we have a brand called Doritos, and which of course in America you will have Doritos as well, but this is not the size of the chips, by the way. These are the smaller types, okay? Which is, I find that they're a little bit more cooler and a little bit more, if you're sort of out and about and you're doing this sort of street magic styles, or you're bringing this with you to an event. But a lot of people will probably have packets of chips like this. Of course, in America, you'll probably have the 6 gallons worth of chips, but you'll get the idea. I am using I'm not using a box of chips, by the way. I know you can there's boxes of chips or items, but for now, we're just using something that you can seal up. If you're using a box, it's probably a lot easier, but for the moment, we're just using sort of these type of chips. Okay, perfect. All right, well, let's get into making the gimmick. All right, now that you've got the items for Sealed, now we're going to create the gimmick. This gimmick is something that I have used for probably 8 years now, and it's not this gimmick, of course, you remake them, but it is something so simple that you'll be able to make within, as you'll see, I'm gonna make one for you now, and it's such a great little utility device that they can see a card and of course it disappears and you don't have to do any sleight of hand. One of the most important things for this effect for me so that you can learn is I didn't want something that required too much palming or stuff that's gonna take you really ages to be able to master. I wanted basically as much hands-off as possible. So this is the gimmick that I used in the performance that you've seen. With the live performances, I would have used a different gimmick, but this is what it looks like. So you've got a card here attached to the selected card that they see. So from in front, it's pretty invisible. It looks like one card, okay? But of course, when you lift up the flap here, because it's cut at the top here, they can see the card. So when it's on a deck, for example, I'll show you this, which is so great. If they're having a look at the card, they can see the 7 of clubs, but of course when it closes up and then you go through the deck, when they spread over, because it's invisible, they won't be able to see the extra card underneath. It looks like the cards disappeared. This gimmick is absolutely awesome. So this is how you actually create it. So what you're gonna do is this, you're gonna get your 2 decks, okay? You want to use the same colored decks. I know this sounds silly, but some people may not, might just make that a mention. You're going to be grabbing 2 cards that are, I like to use 2 cards that are next to each other. For example, Jack of Hearts, Queen of Hearts, 10 of Hearts, Jack of Hearts, 2 of Clubs, 3 of Clubs. And the reason for that is, as you would see here, like this is, I know this is a 7 and a 10, and it doesn't matter if it's not like 7 or 8 or 8 or 9 or 9 or 10, but you want a card that is close enough that if someone does flash, if there's something if there is something seen, it's not going to be a big deal. For example, if you have a contrasting color, I'm not saying you'll be able to know how it's done, but it just covers up the gimmick a little bit better, if that makes sense. So this is once again a 7 or a 10. I'm just using for today a Jack and a Queen, and we're going to set this up right now. So you want to grab the Jack and the Queen of Hearts from your 2 decks, okay? That's it. So you're going to grab those out. Then you're going to choose one of the decks. This is going to be your deck you're going to perform with, okay? And you're going to basically create the gimmick right now. So you're going to be choosing whatever card you want to actually show. So we're going to use the Queen of Hearts, all right? Now, so that I don't forget, I'm going to have it set up here. Otherwise, talking to you and setting up, I might stuff it up. So I'm just going to go from what I can remember or I can see actually. All right, so here's what's going to happen. You're going to get this is the card you're going to load in the deck. So with this Queen of Hearts here, this is the card that we're going to load into the packet of chips very shortly. So don't lose that. And the other Jack of Hearts here, you don't want to have this in play. You can chuck this out, or you can use it for another trick, or you can use this basically to load into another deck of cards, load into another packet of chips, sorry, at another time. But the reason why you don't want this in the deck is because when you go through the deck, if you already have a Jack of Hearts in the deck, and then there's another Jack of Hearts here, I'm not saying they'll notice it, but you just want to be, you don't want someone to bring anything up. So you want to just get rid of that. Okay. All right. So we're going to create the gimmick right now. So here is my version with the performance you would have seen before. That's just so I can remember. And this is how it's doing. So you've got the Jack of Hearts and the Queen of Hearts. This is the card that's going to be loaded into the packet of chips. Actually, this one is, but the card that they will see. So what you're going to be doing is, it's really simple. You're going to be taking the cards down. Okay. So you want to have this one face up, the card that's going to be in the chips, and then the random card face down, and you basically want to tape it together because the end result is it's happening like that. So you just want to tape that down. But before you do that, really, really important, you want to cut off a little bit of the card on the top, okay? Exact size-wise doesn't really matter. If you're using a bicycle deck, you're just taking off a little bit of the top right here, and I'll show you what I mean. So grab your scissors, okay? You're taking off, I would say, about 1/2 centimeter. Okay, not that much. So as you would notice right now, okay, once it's like here, it's very, very short. It's very little. Cool. All right, so you've done that. Now you're going to create the gimmick. So once again, this face up, this face down. You're going to use your tape, not double-sided tape. You're just going to use some normal tape to stick this down. You can use double-sided tape too if you've only got that. It's fine. And it's really, really easy to do, which I love about this effect so much. You know, you don't have to use the problem with a lot of gimmicks that you have to buy is that they will wear and tear, and you know, you have to either buy more, which aren't always the cheapest, And the good thing about this is that a lot of the times, if I go to someone's house, for example, and I don't always bring a pack of cards with me, if they have 2 decks of cards, the same color, I'm good to go once again, because everyone's got sticky tape and everyone's got scissors. And there's always some kind of packet of something. It doesn't have to be chips, but I like the idea of it being chips that you can load the card into. So the chips is just an idea to make it, make it cool and fun, all right? So grab the tape, you're going to stick that all the way down, all right? You don't need much as well. Like, it doesn't need to be taped 100 times over. It just needs to hold enough. So I probably do it once around, I probably do it twice. So the first one and then the second one, okay? So it's like this, then all you're doing, which is great, you're just squeezing it together. And right now, you have, in the space of a minute, you have your gimmick, which looks like this. One other thing too, which is important, you might find that with your tape, you can have a few little edgy corners just from the tape. What you can do is you can just snip off with the scissors just the little bits on the side. It may just help a little bit when it's inside the deck. So I just always just clean it up a little bit. It doesn't take you long, and you've got a bit of extra sticky tape there, so it's nice and rounded. All right, so now you're gonna load the card inside the packet of chips. So once again, you're gonna grab the queen from the deck, and you're gonna choose the chips you wanna choose. For explanation purposes now, we're just gonna choose the smaller packet of chips, okay? And one thing I'll make mention as well, you're gonna be thinking it while you're making this, you're gonna be thinking, Jay, how do people not see the slit inside the packet of chips? They won't know, because like magic, they don't expect it. They're not expecting, no one's gonna take the packet of chips and go, hang on a second, let me look for the slit, all right? And because I'm gonna teach you how to make it really cool, it's not gonna be an obvious slit, it's just gonna be really, really easy. So you're gonna grab your chips, you're gonna grab your X-Acto knife. Once again, you can use your scissors, but I just find this just a little bit, gets the job a little bit done, get it done better. Once again, be careful with this, okay? These are sharp for a reason, and I'm making that a mention. So, you're gonna grab your chips, you're going to go to the bottom of the chip packet, all right? And you're gonna choose one of the sides. I'm just choosing my left side. Now, depending on how your chip packets are, they should all be pretty much the same. I've traveled around the world and I've seen most chips, because I like chips. Chips are typically made the same way. But what you're doing is you wanna make a slit in an area that is close to the end of the chip packet, all right? You're not gonna make it here, you're not gonna make it here, you're not gonna make it on the side. I'd prefer you not to make it on the top. You can still do it, but once again, this is the best way, all right? So you wanna make it on the lower left or the lower right. I'm gonna make it on the lower left, okay? So you're just putting the knife inside and slicing it open. You're not making a big slice too. Once again, the great thing about this effect is that people assume, which I understand, for a layman, a person that's not a magician, to think how to get a card inside, they would think you'd have to slip the card in this way, and that would be a large gap. Well, here's the great thing, once again, we're folding it up a little bit. So you only have to make the slit about that big, okay? You just have to make enough so it can get in. So here, I'm just gonna make the slit right now. Now, be careful as well. I've done this as well. Sometimes if you put too much pressure, you're gonna make a hole over the other side as well. Try not to. The less dirty work you can have on the chip packet, the easier it's gonna be to seal up. All right, so to basically only slit one side, you want a little bit of air in there. Once again, I'm giving you more details than you need. It's not a big deal, all right? So all you do is you make a small slit like this, okay? It's not much. And if I can, and the great thing, it won't even, it's very, very small. All right, cool. Then you're taking your card. Once again, always lock it up. You don't want any little injuries. All right, cool. So you fold it over a little bit. I don't crease it, I just curl it over. All right, and this goes inside like this. All right, load it on the inside. Really easy. And then what I do is I just move it a little bit and shake it to sort of the middle area. Okay? Now, important tip as well, otherwise I'll forget. If you're using a bigger packet of chips, once again, because this is quite small, it's a snack size, if you put this right on the top here, which it's happened to me before, when they open it up, for me, I like it when the audience sees the card straight away and they go straight in and pull it out. There's nothing worse for me. This is my style. I don't like them hunting for it too long, okay? So what I recommend is see if you can shake it so it's sort of the middle area. So it's inside right now. Then this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna get the double-sided tape. Once again, if you don't have double-sided tape, fold over the normal sticky tape. You're gonna take a little bit. You're not gonna take too much. And all you're doing, okay, is folding the tape over the crease or the slit that you made, all right? So what it looks like is this. You're putting that inside this part here. So all I'm doing is I'm just taking a little bit, taking it the size that I've cut, and all I'm doing, it's really simple, is I'm just putting it on the inside. Once again, it's always more effort. It's always more effort when you're trying to explain it on camera and do it at the same time, because you want to get it perfect. All right, like that. All right. So you'll get a shot of that, and now to you that looks obvious. Okay. You can sort of tell from here that there's been a slit. There's a little bit of silver showing. To me, it doesn't bother me. It's never an issue. Now, if you've cut too far, that's okay. What you can do is all you can do is get a little bit more tape and fold this part over. All right? So for example, let's say I was like, oh, I'm not really happy with that, or it's coming apart. All I do is I just get a little bit more tape. This is what I love. Put it on the end of the chips, like this. And then of course, you fold it over, just like that. Make sure no chips fall out. And guess what? You've just set up sealed. All right, so the last part now is you're taking the gimmick and you are loading it on top of the deck. So now you've got the gimmick on top of the deck. Once again, you've got rid of that extra Jack of Hearts. You need to get rid of the gimmicked card here. You don't want two of the same cards. Get rid of that. And then you've got the chips and you are ready to perform. All right, so you're ready to perform this effect now. Now, what I recommend is, depending on your style and how you'd like to do it, if I'm at a house party, if I'm chilling with friends or somewhere, I would usually keep the chips in the cupboard or the pantry, okay? And I just find it a little bit more realistic instead of having it in my pockets, okay? Because if I'm at a house, why would I keep chips inside my pocket? I just keep it in the pantry, all right? So keep these somewhere. You can even just leave these lying around. It's not a big deal, all right? But you wanna have these somewhere that you wanna be able to get to it when the time is right. If you're doing this on the street, if you're doing this at a party, or you're bringing these along with you, which is totally fine, it's an impossible location, I would just keep these typically in my jacket here. If you don't have a jacket, keep it in your case. If you don't have a case, once again, keep it somewhere that you can easily get to, all right? So let's say these are in the cupboard or they're somewhere, all right? I can easily get to them. This is what's gonna happen. The card is on top of the deck right now, all right? And what I'm loving right now is it's just so simple. Like, we have an amazing effect right now ready to go, and you're about to blow people away with it. And just so you know, once again, if you're loving this, make sure you stay to the end of the video. As I said before, got a free video giveaway to give to you, which is amazing. So you're gonna load the card, and you're not gonna keep it on top of the deck. You're going to keep it close to the top of the deck with other cards on top of it. They're probably about 10 to 12 cards on top, all right? So you want to have about 10 to 12 cards on top, and you want the gimmick and then the rest of the cards underneath that. If you want to, you can always swing card over and just load some cards on top, all right? So the next part about this move right here is you're going to be actually doing a force. This is probably the hardest part, if it's not that hard. It's not that hard anyway, but of this whole effect. You're gonna be running your finger through the deck, and what's gonna happen, the way the gimmick works, with a little bit of pressure, you're going to hear it, and you can do it yourself. Listen to this. You would have heard that card. That is the gimmick, all right? And what's great is because there's a cut, it's called a short card, is when you lift up, what's going to happen is they're going to see the selected card, of course, with the with the other card covering it, but they're not going to see that, and they're not going to see the tape either. So the only thing about this is you just have to get a timing thing going on. The way to do this is you're holding the deck in your hands, you're using your finger, your forefinger, to pull back the cards, and you're going to say to your spectator, you're going to say to them, all right, I'm going to run my finger through this. Whenever you want, say the word stop, and your card will be right here, okay? Now, usually I will explain it to them just like that, because I don't want them to think they're looking at the card underneath. I don't want them grabbing the card out. It's a very natural kind of say stop, have a look, perfect, give to them, all right? I want to be as hands-off as this is possible. So you want to tell them what you want them to do before you do it. And that's just controlling your audience. This is a really big tip. So you run your finger through the deck. What's going to happen, because the card's closer towards the top of the deck, you're going to not start from the here, so you're not going to start from the back here. You're going to start from actually already the middle. So once again, I'm going to say to you, I'm going to run my finger through the deck, say the word stop, and this will be your card, and I'll turn my head. You got it? They'll go, great. So as I turn my head, all you're doing is you're getting them to say the word stop, and it's a timing thing, right? And this always works. You just have to time it, is that when you ask someone to say stop, typically there'll be a pause, and then they'll say stop. So I'm going to show you what it looks like with my cameraman. So cameraman, I'm going to run my finger through like this. Whenever you want, say the word stop, and that will be your card, but I'm not going to look. So whenever you want, say the word stop. Right there, perfect. All right, so it's just like that. There's normally a beat, and you can nail it. So that's just a timing thing. Take 5 to 10 times to do it to someone else, you'll get it, and you'll get it all the time. All right, so they've said stop on the card. All right, your head's turns. They see the card, you say, look at the card, look at the card. Do you remember the card? They go, yes, you want them to remember it. And then what I love is this is my favorite part. You do this, give them the deck. That's it. That's it. There's no, you don't have to palm, you don't have to cut, it's it. Now they hold the cards in their hand, and it all comes down to performance from now. It's totally up to you how you want to perform it. My way, the way I like to do it, a couple of different ways. I get them to place the cards in their hand. It's a lot more personable. So they're holding the deck in their hands like this, and I'm asking them to say the card, but don't tell it to me, but say it. So think of the color, and I go, it's black, right? Now think of the suit, it's clubs, right? It's all acting. And then I say, think of the number, or the, if it's a higher card, Jack, Queen, King, Ace. And they go, yep, and I go, not getting it, right? And this performance works for me. And I go, what was the card? And they say 7 of clubs. You go, really? Are you sure you saw it? And they go, yes. And it's always good if a few other people saw it as well. And you go, you guys, was it 7? Because sometimes if you ask them, and they don't want to stuff it up for you. They might go, oh, maybe it was the 7 of spades. No, it was the 7 of spades. It's always good if someone else can vouch for them. No, it was the 7 of clubs. You go, oh, okay. Let's try this. You can take the deck back. You can snap your fingers, you can blow, whatever you want. And what the great thing is when you go through the cards, you can go super slow, and what's going to happen is no matter what happens, even with the gimmick, you'll feel it as well. You feel the gimmick because it's a little bit thicker in your hands. You'll go through, and the card won't be there, and no one will be able to see the card, and I've just passed it and not even feel it. It is that amazing, and the card has disappeared. They will not want to look through the deck because you go slow. You go super slow, and it's very, very clean. Then you put the cards away. Then whatever you want to say is, you say, look, let's try this. Do you have any chips? Or watch this, I've got some chips here. Okay, for now, let's just say we've grabbed the chips. However you want to produce the chips, it's up to you. This is another move right here. It's not a move, but I know a lot of people will be wondering, stressing out because there's a hole or there's a slit in the chip packet. They will not find it. Once again, don't make it a big deal. Do not do this. All right, so I want you to have a look at the, don't make it a big deal. Someone gave you chips. take the chips, all right? I used to do this when I first started. I used to go check the seal, check it, it's fine, it's fine. You know what? I realized after doing this hundreds of times, you don't even need to do that anymore. No one's expecting it to be sealed. If you give the chip packet to them and they open this up like this and they can see, that's good enough for them. No one's ever said to me after this trick, oh, I didn't look at the bottom part. No, because this is enough for the magic moment. So of course, they get the chips, because you cut it from the bottom, you say open it up once again, give it to them to open, and they're already going, no way. And this is my favorite part too. This, they open up the chips, they already know it's sealed, they see the card, they reach down, and they pull out the selected card. This is amazing. This is sealed. All right, the cleanup, really important, because when they do open the packet of chips, take the card out, what do you do with the gimmick packet of chips? Well, here are 3 tips. Number 1, what I do typically if I'm out on the street or doing this just quite raw, I just take the chips off them, put them away, or chuck them in the bin. It's not really a big issue and no one really asks why. Number 2, if I'm sort of like at a house party or with friends or just chilling, what I like to do is grab a bowl and chuck all the chips in the bowl, which is quite normal, and then chuck the paper, the wrapper, the chip packet basically inside the bin. And number 3, if someone inspects or feels like they really need to inspect the chip packet, it really comes down to audience management. You really need to basically just say, look, oh, yeah, well, I'll show you, but let me show you something first. And what you do is you show them something first, and typically they forget about it or you move on. And I know it's one of those things, I wish people could inspect it, but they just can't. Not every magic effect you can inspect. So once again, I've been doing this for a long time. Number 3 doesn't happen that often. Typically, you can just take it away and then move on to something else, or chuck it in the bowl and chuck the chip packet in the bin. So there's a couple of things you can do with the cleaner. Enjoy. All right, just a couple of tips with sealed, 3 tips actually. First one, make sure you get the timing right with the force of showing that card. It's not a big deal, but just get the timing right with that when they say stop. Number 2, don't make the chip packet a big deal. You know it's cut, but they don't. Just give it to them, get them to open it. Don't make it a big deal. And number 3, a little cool bonus tip. If you've got a couple of packet of chips in your cupboard, load up, maybe get more than one of the duplicate cards and load up all of them. Then you can really be impressed when you say grab any packet of chips rather than grabbing the Doritos or the Twisties or one that you have to sort of get them to grab because it's the only card inside it. So load up 4 to 5 different packets of chips and then ask them to grab any packet and then open it, and that will be a blown away effect.